Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, riding a CST Tires SSI decals traveling back Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV motocross national champion, number 25, Cody Jansen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, episode 170 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our more than 295,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 141 countries in which you are listening. And on this episode, we remember and honor one of the true ATV racing all-time greats, the late Mr. Joe Byrd. Today's episode is one we wish we didn't have to make. We tragically lost Joe Byrd after a brief battle with cancer, and our goal is simple: to do right by Joe, to honor his legacy, and to help his impact on the sport live on. To celebrate the man that he was on and off the track, we're joined by a couple of his friends and some of our favorite guests here on the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. You know them as Digger Doug Gust and What If It Rains, Nick DeNoble, to share stories, memories, and what Joe meant to all of us. Joe, we love you. We hope you're smiling down on us. This one's for you, buddy. But first, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Lauderdale Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, and Ultimate Poly Products. UPP Racing, our choice when it comes to case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com. Support all the great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website to help us out in the process. It's the off season, but the season is coming. You and your machine may still need a little TLC. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. Shout out to all of our show donors, and if you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, you can leave us a rating or a review on iTunes and Spotify, because that helps us out a bunch too. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up. It's sideways and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
All right, guys, this is another special conversation tonight as I am joined by one of my all-time favorites when it comes to ATV racing, a hero of mine, a Mount Rushmore guy in the history of ATV motocross. I'm talking to none other than Doug Gust, Digger Doug Gust, joining us again here on the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. But the third time I think we've had Digger on, and we've got this guy to open up a little bit more every time we've had him on the show. Digger, thanks so much for joining me here tonight, pal. I appreciate you a little more every time you come on.
Hey, no problem. Glad to be on here.
Where are you at right now, Digger? I know you've been traveling around a little bit. I saw you at Walsh's last week. You've been doing some riding. Where are you at right now?
Well, I'm back at home now, but yeah, I was down in Florida for a bit, just playing around, trying to get away from the cold weather we had up here in Wisconsin.
Tell me about your time at Walsh's. I saw it looked like were you working on a little track down there for Mikey, or what was the story?
Yeah, he got some dirt delivered, and I had a skid loader there. And I'm like, hey, I'll run that for you. And so I tuned up his track for him, and yeah, it was a good time.
You did a little riding too, huh?
Yes, I did. Yeah, he threw me on a quad. I had a dirt bike down there, but he says, you got to ride a quad here. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I saw you on the LTR a little bit, and I saw you on the hybrid. So yeah, that was cool. So Digger, the idea was obviously we needed to do something for our friend Joe Byrd, right? In remembrance of him. Obviously terrible situation. We're getting sick and everything happening so fast. It felt like we just learned about, him going through some terrible things. And as quickly as we learned about it, it really went downhill and we lost the guy. So obviously we're dealt the hand of trying to remember a legend and do his legacy right by remembering him here on the show, a guy that we had on multiple times. And I thought it would be really fun to kick things off with you as we try to remember the guy, because it seemed like, Digger, every time we talked to Joe, your name came up, and every time we talked to you, Joe's name came up. And I thought it would be really fun just to talk to you about a guy that I know you were friends with for a long time. So Digger, as we look back at Joe's career, and we can talk about some of the battles you guys have had and all those things over the years, but Joe didn't necessarily get along with that many of his competitors, I feel like, Digger, yet you guys, it seemed like, were always, pretty friendly, and off the track, you guys seemingly were pretty good friends. You guys went on to hang out and train together at times and things like that. So what do you think made you different, Digger? The fact that you guys were able to be friends off the track and competitors on the track, because that wasn't the story for so many of the kind of legends from your era. That wasn't necessarily the story with everybody, yet it seemed like you guys were always on pretty solid terms.
Well, first of all, I'd like to give my condolences to his wife and his family. My prayers are out. They obviously have to be going through a horrible time right now because, like I said, it happened so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and Joe, we could practice together. And so I didn't really have a problem with him on the track. I mean, I can't say that every race was good, but he's definitely, I guess I could say the Hayden Deegan of the ATVs. He liked to push you off the track. And, I just learned how to deal with it, where other people, it upset them a lot more than me. But no, yeah, me and Joe go back a long time. In the 90s, I was going down to his place and practicing in the winter when it was too cold up here. And he introduced me to my wife, a girl he went to high school with.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, we have a lot of memories and a lot of good times racing. Sure gonna miss the guy. It was. I didn't find out about this. We kind of, the last few years, just haven't been in touch that much, and heard about it, a couple of weeks ago, and was in Florida, and thought, well, I'll just drive back on my way home and stop in there and see him, but I didn't make it, and it's horrible. Cancer is a horrible thing.
Yeah, it sure is. Like you said, it happened so fast. It feels so bad for his wife and the family and those things, but hopefully we can bring a glimmer of, positivity and put a smile on those faces, even if it's just for a moment, with trying to remember the guy and like I said, do his legacy right and remember him in the right way. So when would you guys have started racing each other, Digger? When do you think you guys, linked up on the racetrack for the first time?
Oh man, I would say it had to be the early 90s. I'm not for sure exactly what year, but 92, 93, I don't know, somewhere in there, I bet,
Okay. And do you have I know that's going back a long time, but do you have a first racing memory with Joe? I mean, you guys would have taken thousands of gate drops together, but do you have something that stands out at the beginning?
Yeah, I'm going to say we both got hurt at Muddy Creek. And that was probably 96, maybe. I forget what year that was. But we both got hurt at the same event. So it was kind of ironic there. But no, I mean, I never really had any too bad of brawls with him, I guess you could say, on the track. It was either I was out front and not dealing with him, or he was out front and not dealing with me. So, I can't recall any. I just know he was a very, very aggressive rider, and he trained harder than anybody.
Was that always true? Was he always the aggressive guy? Because obviously we know that, that is what the image that followed him, for the duration of the peak of his career, maybe, towards the end of his career. But was that how it was at the beginning too?
Oh yeah, I can remember just practicing with him how aggressive he would be. If I left the door a little bit open in a corner, boy, I better hang on because he's coming in taking me out.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. You guys are both champions of the sport, some of the greatest of all time, all those things. We hold both of your names in the highest regard. When you think of Joe as a competitor and a champion and all those things, is that what made Joe so tough to beat? Was the aggression, or what would you say, made Joe as good as he was?
I would say, his desire, he loved the sport so much, and he was, aggressive. There's a combination of things, and he trained hard, but because he had such a strong desire for this sport and put so much into it in time for training. And I mean, he was hard on things. He broke a lot of parts, a lot of quads. But that's because he wasn't the smoothest rider. He was the most aggressive and hardest on equipment.
Yeah.
So I think, once he got himself the happy medium where he wasn't breaking stuff, but still going hard, he started doing really well.
Yeah, it seemed like, he started to, the early to mid 2000s there, right? He started to put things together and win some races, and he won all those, number of Loretta's races in a row, 4 or 5. And obviously that kind of bleeds over into him really finding his footing in that 2006 season, which I don't have to tell you about because you finished second to him. You went on to win the WPSA that year as well. But, that 2006 year would have been, about the peak of the sport, really. We saw some of the factories blow up in the years that followed that, but 2006 was kind of the springboard for that. It was so competitive. There was more sponsors and more OEMs and all that stuff going in. And it was such a gnarly battle. There were so many different winners. It was so unpredictable. It was so up and down. And, he came out on top that season. And I would argue, like I said, I was starting to say, you could argue that would be one of the seasons more than any, if you could pick to win the championship in the ATVA back then, it would have been, one of the years to win. If you could win any, that would have been one of the ones. And he did.
Oh yeah.
What a gnarly battle you guys had, right? Like I said, it came kind of down to the wire, was pretty close. You finished second to him, but he really peaked at the right time, in that era there. And then he wins back to back. 2007 was a little bit of a weird year with, a lot of people racing the WPSA and he's staying at the ATVA, but he really did well for himself in being successful, kind of peaked at the right time, did really well for himself, winning those back-to-back titles really at the right time, Digger. And I think that kind of springboarded his career and springboarded his legacy because he won, back-to-back titles there kind of in the heyday of ATV racing.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you 100%. 2006 was the premier year, with the WPSA coming in and the factories were full bore, all the factories, and definitely he peaked at the right time.
He peaked at the right time, did really well for himself, his school too. I mean, I think that's why you saw so much. I mean, there's so many connections to Joe, so many people crawling out of the woodworks to talk about the connections that they had with him and going to his house. I mean, that school just made it so that he had so many connections to people. People spent so much time with him over the years because, I mean, if you're around ATV racing, like, there's a really high percentage of people that ended up at the Joe Byrd riding school. And I had said in a post, in the last couple of weeks, as we, remembered him and talked about him and covered him, and I tried to showcase as many things as I could. He really planted the seed. I mean, both of you guys with the numbers, you had the 55 in the driveway. Joe had the 7 in the driveway. Going to Joe's as a young kid, like really kind of helped shape, the dream for me, because it was like, he's got all these, awesome shops and the ring and all these quads and a practice track and all the stuff. Like, he really helped cement the vision for what would be possible if you were to, get to Joe Byrd's level, and yours was very similar. But I think I could argue, if you look at just the whole scope of what he accomplished, what he built, all the attendance to the schools, all the people that he was able to impact. I mean, he's probably, like yourself, had one of the most impactful careers in the history of ATV racing.
Oh, definitely. He, like I said, he had such a passion the sport. I called him extremist. Everything he did was extreme. He just did it with 150%, effort. And he did really good with his riding schools. And like you said, I mean, he always had people over that he was training from different countries, and he would go to different places. And I think a couple of years ago, he was up in northern Wisconsin doing a riding school.
That's what I heard. I still can't believe that. Yeah. Yeah. I heard about that after the fact. I'm like, what do you mean he was up here?
Yeah. I heard a story just the other day that he was flying up here and he had a problem with the plane and had to land at an airport and leave it there and then rent a car and drive the rest of the way to make it on time.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, no, definitely, he was still going strong, as far as the schools and everything. But he was in shape, that guy. I mean, I can remember going down and training at his place, and he always bragged about, it gets hot in Tennessee, and I hate the heat. And he would show me pictures, 110 degrees in the shade. I just did a 30-minute moto. And I'm like, oh my God. I cringed going to Loretta Lynn's because I can remember it's so hot and you hear them cicadas going, the noise of them cicadas.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And after the moto was over, I couldn't even stop for the podium. I said, man, I'm going to pass out. So I would drive right to that creek and jump in.
That's awesome. I can remember. And we just shared this clip last week, but he's on there saying, yeah, last week we were training down here. The temperature gauge hit 126. Yeah, it was a little hot. And I'm thinking, oh my God.
Most people wouldn't even go out in it.
Exactly. But he was built for it. Digger, you guys,
Yep.
Like I said, you guys, spent some time together, trained together. I know you guys hung out, maybe not in recent years as much, but after you guys retired or after you retired, you guys still got together here and there and did some things. What can you tell me about the guy when the helmet came off? I mean, obviously he was in shape and, I think he's passionate at everything he did. He was extreme in all the things that he did, but tell me, what was he like away from the racetrack when you guys weren't necessarily, having to be competitive anymore? And was there a bond between the airplane thing, or was there any connection there? Because also that's something that you two, both did. And I wondered if there was any connection there between you two in that regard.
Oh yeah. He was in buying and selling airplanes. And of course he went extreme on that too. Everything was a competition for him. Even when the helmets were off, it was a competition of who has fastest plane, who can do this. I remember flying with him one time. I was in my plane, and all of a sudden he'd come alongside me, and I'm like, holy crap, he's right next to my wing,
Oh,
no, he definitely was an extremist. Like I said, if we had a couple drinks that night, to him, it had to be a couple more. I got more than you. Come on, let's go. Always was a race to him. So,
do you have a story, Digger, or a moment or something that perfectly captures who he was? Because I feel like you're saying, he's an extremist guy. He was always taking it to the nth degree. I think even like later in his career, he was never just the guy in the background, right? He was making know he was there. He was speaking up at the riders meetings and, maybe causing a fuss with Harv. I mean, he was always doing something. So do you have a story or a moment that captures truly who Joe Byrd was? Because I feel like he was never just there. You knew when Joe was around. It was, he always made himself known. And that's something that I feel like you had to love about the guy.
Yeah. I got to think here in the racing part of it, I'm going to jump forward to after racing was over. I remember a time where he was flying his twin engine plane and he decided to do a low pass by everybody. And he tipped the plane wing down one side and he had the fuel on the other side of the wing on, so he didn't have it on both things, and he ran out and the engines quit, but he got him started in time. And just when he was telling me this and his story on how, it freaked him out. He thought he was going down, but he got it back going. But that's just how Joe lived, on the edge like that all the time,
That's awesome.
And the same with his riding, he was always man, he was right there, about ready to crash, but hanging on,
Oh, that's good stuff.
Oh, I got another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was coming down there to practice with them, and I got into town with my toy hauler and quads in the back. And as soon as I pulled into town, it was late at night, midnight. I got pulled over by the cops, and they pulled me over into this grocery store. So I get out, and the next thing you know, the cops frisking me, and they're doing all this stuff, and then here comes Joe in the background laughing. He set it all up.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
No, it was, here I thought I was going to jail. I didn't even know what I did wrong.
Oh, that's awesome. But, that sounds like him. He sure was a good guy. Did you guys get to connect at all? I know you were really in and out with the Legends race, and that's something that I'm so glad that he got to do and got to be a part of that whole thing. That was right up Joe's alley, and getting to connect with so many people there and sign the autographs. I know you didn't get to get the whole scope of it, but obviously what went down there. I'm so glad that he was able to be a part of that like you were. Yeah, I'm assuming you guys didn't really get to connect there because you were so quickly in and out.
No, I actually had a fuel pump go out on my plane. So long story short, I didn't get there till late. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even make practice. I got there at noon, and then I had to get back before dark. So I had to leave right away after that second moto. So I didn't get a chance, and I'm bummed, but with my work schedule in the summer, it's a seasonal job, like to say, make hay when the sun shines. And that's us. I can't afford to miss a day, if they'll give it to somebody else. So, I'm glad I got to go. It was awesome, but I wish I would have had some more time. And I told them, you do a race like that again, do it later in the year or earlier in the year.
So when does things get busy like that for you, Digger?
I'm usually, I start flying in April, but I'm not busy until the middle of June. And the middle to the end of June, I'm in the airplane from sun up to sundown, all the way through about the middle of August. And then it starts slowing down again.
So that came at the worst time for you.
It came, and I didn't even think I could go. And I told them that.
I know.
I said, if things could work out, I'll be there. And actually, I flew the crop dusting plane there because I was working that morning when we got the fuel pump back in the night before, and I had to finish up. Otherwise, I could have been there that morning. I had it planned because I have other pilots flying for me, but it just didn't work out. I could get away, So
yeah. Well, I'm glad that you were able to.
Yes, that was an awesome thing they put together. And holy cow, I was sore for 3 days after that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to both be a part of it. The reason why I asked is because I would really like to get you to a race. I've had so many people connect with me trying to say, do you think we can get Digger to one of these, races? And so in my mind, I was trying to figure out what your schedule looks like in May, when we're at Crawfordsville or when we're at, Walnut. So I hope that we can maybe make that happen at some point, is to get you to one of those races and give you a day to be able to hang out. I know last year that you were at Sunset? I think it was. Yeah, I think you were at Sunset on Saturday last year.
Yep. And I think I might make it down there again today, depending on work. Work is, like I said, not that busy then, but sometimes, I might be having to work that weekend, but if I'm not, I could come down there again. And I enjoyed watching. It was a good time. I had a bad knee. The knee's better now, but
okay.
I was hobbling around there. So. Yeah,
I would really like to make that happen, or see that happen, because maybe we can let people know that it's happening. I know that that's not really your style, but I would like to maybe make that happen so that you get some of the experience that the other guys got at the Legends race. There's a lot of people. The reason why they've been reaching out to me is, that they want to connect with you. They want to meet you and things like that. I know and I've told you about her before, but Shelby Cabrando, one of the ladies in the WMX class, runs number 55 and, hasn't, seen you since, the story goes, like 2009 or 2010 or something like that. And they were so bummed that she didn't get to meet you at Sunset last year, that they were already here in the off season in the winter, trying to pick my brain as to if you were going to be at one of those races next year. So maybe we can.
We'll definitely plan. I'll definitely plan on being there this year. When is it again?
May 23rd would be the pro day. May 23rd and 24th is the race weekend there, Digger. But yeah, I'd really like to get you down there. Maybe we can do something special with the podcast and get some people together for you or something. That would be really fun.
Yep. Sounds good.
Awesome, Digger. Well, I appreciate your time tonight. I want to end with one last question here as we're talking about Joe here on this episode and doing some coverage of his career and the stories that people have with him. So when fans talk about Joe, 10 or 20 or 30 years from now, what do you hope that they say about the guy? A legend, a two-time champion in the sport. He raced for forever, 30 years or something like that. What do you think, or what do you hope that people are saying or remembering about Joe as his legacy lives on well past his time on Earth here?
I'm going to say, hopefully they, say he was one of the hardest working guys out there in the quad race and one of the most talented and, fastest guys out there. I think he is one of the fastest guys out there. He had some bad luck with breakage and stuff like that, but just one of the hardest working, fastest guys out there. That was out there,
He's a legend, man. He's a legend. And like I said, he was peaking when the sport was at its biggest. I know he wasn't a WPSA guy, and WPSA, you could argue, was the biggest of the biggest, but he was very much a contender in the heyday of ATV racing. So an absolute legend.
Definitely.
An absolute legend. Digger, I can't thank you enough for your time tonight. I know you're a busy guy, but always love connecting with you and having you on the show. Love talking to you. And I knew I wanted you to be a part of this episode, trying to cover Joe's legacy and hope that and help that live on. So Digger, I can't thank you enough for your time tonight.
Yep. You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome, Digger. Well, let's plan to connect as we get closer to the spring here and look at our schedules and all those things. But I can't thank you enough for your time tonight, and hopefully we see you at a race, maybe Sunset here in a few months.
Definitely plan on Sunset.
Awesome, Digger. Have a good night, pal. Thanks so much for making a little time for me.
You too. We'll see you.
That's Digger Doug Gust signing off on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. Have a good night, Digger. See ya. We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. Do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATVMX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV National Champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors, as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV Motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Off-Road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion top fuel drag racer Clay Milliken. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at ssidecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you? For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse within the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently deliver increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. I'm excited to announce Valvoline's breakthrough in performance, Valvoline Ultimate Power Sports. With up to 8 times stronger rust protection and 50% better wear protection, this cutting-edge formula ensures your ATV's engine runs smoother and longer for the ultimate ride. Tackle rugged terrains with confidence knowing your ATV's engine is equipped with the best protection available. Ready to experience the next level of performance? Head over to shop.valvolineglobal.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 at checkout to unlock an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Don't miss out on this limited time offer to enhance your ATV's performance with Valvoline's Ultimate Power Sports engine oil.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheeled racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen, plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Headlined by their 4130 Chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the #1 choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the Pro Paddock with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit laundervillesteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. With the desire to keep you in the race, Ultimate Poly Products offers the ultimate protection collection of case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Founded on quality in 1998, this family-owned and operated business produces products created by racers for racers. These industry-leading products are proudly made and manufactured in the USA, with their case savers being made of the highest quality American-made polyurethane on the market and designed to completely conform to your engine case to help prevent case damage from a thrown chain, because no one wants to be a spectator on race day. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing products. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com to save on your next order. Ultimate Poly Products, made to last longer so you can ride more. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. All right, guys, next up is a fellow ATVMX pro and a race winner, I might add, who knew Joe very well. We grew up together, racing locally, chasing the same dream. And then this guy went on to spend a lot of time with Joe Byrd as his understudy. You know who it is. It's my pleasure to have Nick DeNoble joining us here back on the show to help remember a legend. Nick, welcome back to the podcast, pal.
Hey, man, appreciate it. Pretty shitty timing to do this, but good to be on and bring some memories back of the old Joe Byrd.
Yeah, man, obviously not a fun conversation to have, but at the same time, in the place that we are, in the sport that we are, small niche sport, as two people who love the sport like we do, both people who love Joe. I think that it's our duty, at least that's the way that I look at it, to, help his legacy live on and hopefully, put a smile or two on some faces of his loved ones and people that loved him like you did. And to your credit, you were one of the first people that said, hey, we should get some people together and do a show, covering Joe and telling some old stories and helping his legacy live on, which is an idea I had too. We tried to, get maybe a panel together, right? So you guys could tell some old stories of staying at Joe's and stuff like that. But just as good to have you, and we already had Digger on. We'll have you on and maybe another guest or two as we have the night unfold here. But Nick, like you said, terrible situation to lose Joe. It's hard to believe that Joe is the first ATV motocross champion, or ATV racing pro champion at the the ATVA, GNC, then ATV motocross level that we've lost. That's a crazy thing to think about in the sum 40, creeping up on 45 years of champions here, of championships and champions, to have him be the first one that we lost. When I learned that and realized that, it hits hard. It's a tough thing to lose any of them, but to be our first champion. And then you look at Joe, so fit, young dude, really, in the grand scheme of things. It's just a really, really tough realization.
Yeah. And especially seeing the video of Joe talking to Gary Denton, Gary Denton, multi-champion back in the 80s and 90s. And as a human being, you'd see him gone before Joe.
For sure. Age-wise.
Yeah. Age-wise, Joe being 53, 54, and it's just like, man, yeah, it truly hits hard around to everyone, truly, because, you sit back and think about it. Tim Farr, Shane Hitt, Natalie, Ellis, all those guys are the same, somewhat around the same age, same era and shit, and yeah. As you know, and everyone else, super unexpected, but it's Joe Byrd, the professor, in my eyes, I thought he was indestructible. Honestly, I don't know. It caught a lot of people, and it sucks.
It sucks. Yeah. I knew that it would be really fun to have this conversation with you, or if fun is the right word, to relive some memories and stuff, because obviously you spent a lot of time with Joe, and it's funny how it played out, and again, I don't know if that funny is the word, but it's fun to think back on how it all played out, because I believe that you and I would have went to Joe's kind of close to the same time. I think for the first time, I think it would have been 2006. At least that was my first time.
Yep.
And then the way it unfolds, you end up spending a ton of time down there and being his understudy and all the things and how that all played out. So it started so naturally because then actually I think on the video that we shared on the Digging Deep page of, him showing off his whole compound, I think that your guys' rig, right, is in the driveway there. And that was really where it started because that would have been 2006. You guys would have just been, there like any other riding school people at the time. It wasn't like this big thing at that time. And as the years unfold is how, or, those couple of years there is how it unfolds and you really become kind of a full timer at Joe's. But yeah, I knew that it would be fun because we both kind of just like found ourselves there in 2006 and our parents took us there and we did some riding. And I remember all that like it was yesterday. And then it was like the next thing I know, in reality, it's a year or two goes by, but the next thing I know, Nick DeNoble is on like basically like a Joe Byrd replica quad, all like, redded out to the core. And it's funny because it's not like today, right? Where there's all this coverage and there's videos and all this stuff of the sport, right? So like you had to go to ATV Riders and like, just like look at the tiny little pixelated photos that you could find. So like, I knew like you had a year there, like from 2006 to 2007 and then 2008, where you really became a badass. Like you went from being a contender in the A class to, being like a prominent pro-am guy. And it seemed like it happened overnight. And obviously we both know that Joe and, picking up and being with him was a huge part of that. But for me, like it went from Nick DeNoble and Eric DeNoble just being like local Wisconsin fast guys to being like, looking like the pro-am version of Joe Byrd, like overnight. And I'm like, man, it was yesterday that Nick and I were both going to Joe's for the first time. And now he's like where I want to be, it's just, it's fun times to remember.
I mean, honestly, over at the Joe Byrd quad riding school, I mean, he brought the character out of you. He brought the racer out of you. Uh-huh. And our first time was early 2006. I remember plain as day. Me, my brother, you, the Whitefields.
Eddie Dejanev.
Eddie, yep. And Eddie was there. I don't think Corey was there.
No, Corey didn't go. No.
Yep. And we're just there being a bunch of amateurs. And 2005 was my last year doing full locals, and 06 we're doing full nationals.
Yep.
So then that's what we had to do, because legitimately, you think about it, none of the other pros back then were doing riding schools or training or doing anything with any other racer. No. Which was awesome. And well, nowadays everyone's doing it just to, make a buck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But he had the market cornered back then though. Yes. Like I just got done saying to Digger that everybody, even to this day, but everybody in ATV motocross was connected to Joe in that way. Because if you were into ATV motocross, you went to the Joe Byrd riding school at one point or another.
Yep. Yep. I mean, bring up another name, Dustin Wimmer. Mm-hmm. Dustin Wimmer was a graduate from Joe Byrd quad riding school, rode the exact quads that Joe had, that I built.
Yep.
And I'm going to give Joe credit for it. Look at what Joe created Wimmer,
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can't say that'll describe the greatness of him in the output. Yeah, he could have been an a-hole at the races if you were racing against him, which I was at that stage. And that's when we stopped talking for about a year or two, because we were competitors with each other,
Yeah.
But other than that, he still gave a shirt off his back. And
he was always pretty cool to me, Nick, and went on to be awesome to me. I mean, I have texts in my phone from him saying he listened to me when I was, commentating at Briarcliff, not the year that you guys raced, but, the other years, and how awesome it was. And he listened to the stream of the banquet, and he's like, man, you're the best. And, it's just super cool text that came from a guy that he was God to me when I was a kid. Like when we were going to the Joe Byrd riding school, I couldn't believe I was going to be in his presence and see his house.
For real.
Whatever. Yeah.
Remember pulling up to the driveway and seeing that big red 7 on there? And we're like, oh, shit. We're rolling with the birds. And then he had those brand new shops just built.
I know.
Sketchy ass track. You know, like, I mean, it was sketchy. It was only wide as your four-wheeler. There's no passing besides the turns. But other than, that, you're like, man, that's a pretty badass quad set up here, especially in 06. No one was doing that.
And I think I posted online, but he really shaped the dream for everybody. Because in 2006, he had you dreaming that you could do that, that you could build that for yourself. At least for me, I'm like, man, like that's what I dreamt of for me is, you're going to become a pro and you're going to make some money and you're going to build this compound like this. And that's the path. He did it. And he peaked at the right time and he won some championships where like ATV racing was about at its peak. And man, he did so damn well for himself between the riding school and again, he just connected with so many different people.
Yeah. And I'm going to say, 2006, it was cool seeing that video you posted of him showing his compound. Cause that was back then the Screaming Nuts quad racing rig. And then Adrienne Cooper, she used to race women's back then. She was there too. So, and then you show a section of 2 quads sitting when he's going to the workout room. That was mine and Adrian's quad sitting there. And man, when you posted that brought back so many memories, just getting done with the workout room. And then, when I seen those videos, it's like, fuck that workout room. He would have us in there with the heater on at 95 degrees. And then we go up in the attic in his other shop and doing sit-ups for, I don't know, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, which I don't know what that's going to gain you besides showing, that was just his shit, Remember pushing the quads around, and I just want to bring this name up too. That might bring something to you. In 2006, Brandon Smith used to train with us also. So Brandon Smith went to a quad riding school while I was staying there training with Joe.
Okay.
And so I kind of helped Joe out on the riding schools back then because I was just staying there. So I'd give him a hand for just me staying there and respect and stuff, And Brandon was one of the students, and he ended up racing A class against me in 2007, production A, and then Pro Am, while we were both staying at Bird's also, which was awesome because it was kind of like bump ahead to 2008, me and Clay Holmes, riding together. But yeah, man, 2006 was such a turnaround for me. For him, that was his first championship, and it was awesome being a part of that, going to his championship party, just bought a brand new Hummer and Viper and had it all displayed, all Joe Byrd style.
It's awesome to think back on that. And I had the same thing. I mean, obviously I didn't spend the kind of time that you did at his facility there, but seeing those videos did bring me right back there. And I told Joe this when we had him on the show, but I'm like, Joe, I was like 12 or 13 or something.
Yeah, you were young. Yeah.
And I had never done a lick of maintenance on my quad before. I didn't even know. Like I pressure washed it. That was it. I should have, I guess I should have known. But I did not know.
You're 13.
I did not know what I was signing up for when I rolled out my basically stock 450. It had A-arms and tires and wheels and nerfs and controls. And, he's, the very first thing you do at the Joe Byrd riding school is he gets to inspect your quad. Well, I don't think my quad had a cotter pin or a cotter key. It was missing every single thing. Yeah. Do you remember that? So I had like,
I was supposed push-ups.
So no. And I told him this, I should find the clip, but I'm like, Joe, you had my total up to like 350 push-ups and I'm so scrawny. I'm a scrawny little kid. I got like no biceps. I got no chest. I probably never had done a push-up. Yeah. And I'm supposed to do all these push-ups. And I remember my dad being like, Cody, you ain't doing that many push-ups. You aren't doing those push-ups. He's like, I'm going to tell Joe that you're hurting. You got something wrong with your shoulder and you got to do sit-ups instead.
I do remember that.
I remember being so scared.
We were in his main shop. We were in his main shop where his quads were hanging and shit.
Yep.
And he had all of us in there doing all, that's funny.
God. So then, and it's funny because, me too, right? I go on to race this guy. By the time I'm racing him, we're racing for like 7th and 8th and 9th. So it's not as competitive as he once was. But he was still had times when he was, confrontational, I would say. So I remember him just getting in spats with Harv. I remember there was one year after you were already gone, we're racing at Unadilla and and he gets accused of riding the second quad for the second moto.
Yeah.
He freaking blows up. He's roosting, the big rocks at Unadilla in the staging area. He's roosting rocks at everybody, does a big burnout.
Cheerio.
Big Cheerio gets out of it. I'm like, oh my God. I remember being like right there as part of this. Yeah. So
but he's Joe Byrd. He didn't give a shit.
Man, yeah. So awesome to relive some of these memories. So as you think back on, the time that you guys spent down there training and all those things, what was different about Joe's approach to training and riding and winning, preparing to go win? What do you think it was different about him? Because you spent a lot of time around a lot of guys, Creamer and Digger and Dustin.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah. So I trained with Joe first, and then I went to Wimmer. And then I went to Digger and Wimmer at the same time.
Digger was sprinkled in there a lot.
Yeah. And then I just stayed with Digger from 2009 to 2011, I think. Yeah. But Joe was just about quad racing. That's all it was. It was quads this, quads that, quads everything else. Wimmer, when I was training with Wimmer, we'd ride, we'd hang out, but we would do what he want and go ride go-karts, enjoy life a little bit, okay. But that was kind of the same with Digger and the same with Creamer too, just Joe was all about racing. That's all it was about. It was business and making money. And that's what it's about, where the other guys, it was about the same shit, but also having some fun. I kind of got burnt out from the racing, from being at Joe's, honestly, because it was literally after every moto, we would do 3 20-minute motos a day. And after every moto, you'd have to push your quad around the track. And you've done that too before. You do it 3 times a day. 3 times a day. And it was just like, all right, this shit's way too much, and I mean, but that's what he did to get him there. Yeah. And that's what every other trainer does to train other kids. That's what they did to get them there. And they're training them to do that, Yep. Joe definitely brought the Nick DeNoble out of me, going from local to nationals and then going to Joe's quad riding school. He brought the Nick out of me and brought the pro racer out of me. And then it just got me and him kind of split up in 2010. I took his mechanic. So people don't, yeah. How do you like that, Joe? I always gave him shit about that. So
he subs in another local guy, Bill Mickey, to be his mechanic
from Wisconsin. It's like, all right. So Joe wins that championship in 2006. I take his mechanic in 2007. And then he brings in Bill Mickey, same Wisconsinite, 30 minutes away from us. Yeah. Kind of like, all right, well, look at this, and
right.
Me and Joe had a little falling off for about 2 years or so. And I mean, my dad, us DeNobles were always family oriented at the races. We got along with everyone. I just told Joe, shut the hell up and get over it and just take it out on the track if that's what it's got to be. But apparently he took it all out on Thomas Brown. So that was good for me.
So then if he influenced so much of your racing career, why didn't you go on to point the knee like he did for the rest of your life? I could never point the knee, Nick. I could never point the knee. That's just not the way it works.
No, it's made to be tucked against the gas tank.
I'm sorry, Joe. I don't agree. Actually, I've never agreed.
Now that after you said it took me about 10 seconds and they said point the knee. I was like, okay, now I get it. Yeah. Point the knee to where you're going to turn.
Where you're going. Yeah. I still don't agree, Joe.
No,
I still don't agree.
You tuck it and you give her.
Hey, it's because he was too tall. He had to point the knee because he couldn't keep it in. But if you're a little guy, if you're Joel Hetrick, you can't point the knee. It doesn't work that way.
No, you just fall between the netting.
Right, exactly.
Little Joel goes.
Exactly. So Nick, is there a moment, funny or serious? And this has been so much fun to relive some old times and tell some old stories and just think about and remember Joe. But is there a moment that you shared with him, funny or serious, that really captures who he was?
Honestly, Cody, the only thing that comes out to mind to me is me winning Ironman, and I had no idea Joe was there. I literally had no idea Joe was there.
Okay.
I got that picture as my Facebook profile picture, and that's honestly probably the greatest memory I have with him, because going past the assholeness of training and all that stuff, me and him talked that night and drank and talked and drank for 3 hours.
Okay.
And he just opened up because he was done racing. So he was finally happy, and he told me after winning a race that he was so proud of me. And I was probably one of the proudest students he's ever had. And that just hit so hard.
Yeah.
And it hit hard. I mean, man, when he came up after, I turned around after I went and he was right there giving me a hug. Didn't give a fuck about the mud, about the water. One of his students, that's one thing about me. I say this on every time we talk, is I love everyone and stuff.
Yeah.
And even though me and him had a bad 2 years or so, I'm not going to say bad. We still talked. You were
just racing against each other.
Yeah, we just hated each other on the track.
Yeah.
After that, like, it all came down, and I was the only legitimate student that stayed in contact with him and gave him props for what he's turned me into and stuff, and just that Ironman night, that's why I got so emotional on that episode of If It Rains. That night just all together just hit hard, just the whole race and shit, just your whole, you see the light before you die. And that's what hit there. And Joe come up and hugging me, and me and him and partied for hours after that and just talking. I mean, him still FaceTimed, probably once a month after that.
Okay.
Texted once a week.
Yeah.
And then before he passed, I had the privilege to FaceTime him that Monday before.
Okay.
And told him how much I loved him and what he's taught me and who he's turned me into, because it's not just my dad that creates the man or your mom. It's also your other inspirations of the things you 100%. Love.
Yeah.
And I just told him that. And it was a big crying fest on that Monday, because I mean, the dude did a shit ton for me for quad racing, not just me, for a lot of people. Look at the Argentina people, look at the overseas people, look at the European people. I think he opened up the doors for that Ponte-Vu or all these other races that are going on, because they weren't doing that back then.
And all the Argentinians that came here, I mean, I really think that stemmed with Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, it was year after year, he had new people here. And,
right. And riding for him and just
feeder into our series. Yeah.
That and making him moolah, it's a business,
Yeah.
When I met him, he was 34 years old. It was a business. Him and Heather were together. It was a race, and it was a racing business.
Yeah. In a lifer, man.
That's the way he took it. Yeah. And
a business, Nick, but like at the same time, and Digger said something very similar, that you would be hard up to find somebody that loved it as much as he did. And that's telling because, and we saw it firsthand because he famously raced for like 35 years, right. And he raced because he said, he's like, I raced against every champion that there ever was. Like that's what he, still to this day, because he raced against Joel and he raced against Chad and he raced against John and Timmy and Shane and Jeremiah and all the guys, Gary, all the dudes that have ever raced and been a champion, Joe Byrd raced against. So,
and that's something to put on his name is what other guy has done that?
Insane.
Honestly, what other guy has done that? Because Byrd quit racing in 2016 or 17, 18 or something like that.
There. And again, he was a champion in 2007. He raced for another 10 years after that.
Another 10 years. He didn't just throw in the towel and hang it up and say, "F this, I'm going to go and do something else."
No, he loved it. He raced until he couldn't race no more.
Yes. And he's still racing right now. Yeah. He's still racing. It's and awesome, he's going to be. And I just hope everyone just keeps him going through this racing community, which, I mean, they should. I mean, exactly like you said at the beginning of the show was, he's the first legitimate champion in this small ATV community that we have, that we love so much with each other. Mm-hmm. He's the first one gone, and look at what he's done to it.
I know.
Look at the hit that he's done.
But I like what you're saying, where it happening, such a tragedy. But you and I, before we hit record on this, talked about the fact that as awful as it is that we lost him, and as awful as it is that it happened as quick as it did, which is just an insane thing to think about. But at the same time, we knew the ultimate outcome. So did he. So it gave everybody the opportunity to pay homage to him, to connect with him, to see him, just like you said, to FaceTime him. I told you already before we hit record that I was motivated to get as many memories and videos and wins and share posts and all kinds, as much stuff as I could while he was still here, not save it for when he was gone, but do it while he was still here in hopes that
see it.
In hopes that one, he could see it, and two, it would give people the opportunity to, and like I said, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments of people talking about how badass he was, and saying how much of a legend he was, and he was their GOAT and their favorite rider ever, and the gnarliest dude ever, and all these things, of memories from the riding schools, all that stuff. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to give that to him, because you and I, and we talked about this already, but we both know that Joe Byrd loved being Joe Byrd. So in his dying day, on his deathbed, he was able to still be Joe Byrd. And I'm so glad that he got that opportunity, let alone the Legends race and all of that whole deal. And then, he comes back after the Legends race and he races Loretta's and wins 50 plus at Loretta's, which was awesome. But there will never be another Joe Byrd. And I don't know if there'll ever be another rider as influential as Joe Byrd, not to be prisoner of the moment and all these things. But I just told Digger too, Joe Byrd having the Joe Byrd riding school makes it so that like you and I talked about, everybody went to the Joe Byrd riding school.
Yeah.
It's
going to live on forever.
Everybody has some connection to Joe Byrd. And that's the legacy that we all dream of having.
Yeah, for sure. And like bringing back to, like you said, is Joe got to see all this go on, and me and you were talking before. So me and Mikey Walsh talked quite a bit, and like I told him, I was like, one good thing that Joe can see out of this, heartbreaking for him in a month news of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But positive out of it is he got to see the lovingness, the caringness, the support that the ATV community has, not just for each other, but for him. You know, he made Honda what Honda is. He made the sport for what it is. Him and Digger and those guys made it for what it is. And he got to see that, and seeing those videos of Mallory posting of all him in his last stages, sickly looking, signing autographs.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? He loved it.
Mm-hmm.
He loved every minute of that, because that's who Joe is.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about it. Honestly, like, I feel like he's happy. I know he's happy because he got to see the people care to come back into him, not as Dirty Bird,
right?
You know, as Joe Byrd, you know, as Joe Byrd quad ride in school. Mm-hmm. And the guy who created, I'm not going to say he created ATV motocross, but put a good foot stamp in it and created a lot of good racers out there. A lot of good racers. Wimmer, me, Clay Holmes, Brandon Smith, Cody Jansen, Corey Gauthier, Eddie Dejanev.
And countless other riders, right? You know, Adrian Cooper, and Heather Bird.
Adrian, yes. Yeah.
So many.
Travis Moore, you know, all those guys, you know, just so many people that he's touched into the racing community to make those people so much better. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't about him. It was about benefiting you.
Everybody in life, not just racing, but everybody wants to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
Joe left a legacy as big as him and his personality. He did.
Yeah.
And so many people came out of the woodworks, because you're right. I mean, everybody had an opinion on Joe Byrd, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yep.
And everybody came out of the woodwork to salute that dude.
Yeah.
And that was the coolest thing that happened from this tragedy.
Hate him or love him, they all came out.
And we all want our heroes who love the sport as much as we do. Yeah. And that was what that dude was about. You know, you and Digger said the same exact thing, is that dude loved ATV racing, and he was all about ATV racing. So I think that's a fantastic way to end it, pal. I just wanted to do the guy justice, and it's so fun to relive these stories and memories, stuff that only you could tell us. And I really appreciate your time tonight. Obviously not the greatest of topics, but trying to do right by him and his legacy. And if we have anything to do with it, if we have anything to say about it, we're going to make sure that legacy lives on long into the future.
Right. For real. Forever Joe Byrd, number 7. That's all it is. That's all he ever wrote. And that's what he told me Monday. He goes, you just can give her all you got, Nick. And that's what he told me. So that's what you do.
That's all we can do. That's all we can do. Right. Well, Bill, I appreciate you making a little time for us and reliving the memories and telling us about Joe, telling some old stories. I love that. You know, he's smiling down on us, and I'm glad that we can share this with all of our listeners. So I appreciate you. Appreciate you making a little time for us tonight, and all goes to honor Mr. Joe Byrd, number 7. Appreciate it, man.
Exactly. Appreciate it. Bigger is easy. Love you, Joe.
See you, buddy.
So as we come to the end of our conversation, we're reminded that Joe's legacy isn't just in championships and results, but in the people that he touched and the stories that will live on forever. Rest in peace to a true legend. And don't be surprised if there's a part 2 to this, because my inbox is full of guests who want to be a part of the next one. All for you, Joe. Huge thanks to Digger, Doug, Gust, and Nick DeNoble for joining the show as this week's featured guests. Thanks to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to my wife, Brooke, and thanks to AMA official Harv Whipple. And thanks to all of our donors. Thanks to all of our partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, and Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing. Use code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com. Support all the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. Find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all the gear and parts you need and to help us out.
And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. Shop our Digging Deep merch at shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com. Find all things ATV fantasy related at atvfantasy.com. All prizes that haven't already been sent out are getting sent out in the next couple days here from 2025. And signups are just about to open here right around the corner in the next few days, I would say, for 2026. So we can't wait for a brand new season of ATV fantasy. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the show. If you have a story, a memory, anything you want to share about Joe Byrd, call in and we will play that on the next episode. That number is 920-569-3519. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content coverage and more fun stuff as the 2026 season creeps ever closer. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, so check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend, please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Digger Doug Gust, Nick DeNoble, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with more than 295,000 downloads last month in 141 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quad dudes are freaking gnarly.